I want to talk about this horrible train crash that happened in the Bronx yesterday. It was a Metro North train on its way to Poughkeepsie, I think. Now, I actually know that place quite well because I used to live there. It's at the very end of Manhattan. There's a place called Inwood. It's the very end of Manhattan. It's a very strange place. It's north of Harlem, and it's a small wood-filled bay, and on the other side of that, there's a bridge that connects the the subway trains into the Bronx that goes over. It's a rotating swing bridge. The Metro North trains, what they do is they leave Grand Central Station. They cross over onto the Bronx after they go through a tunnel in Manhattan, and then they go up along the shore of the South Bronx and around this place, heading towards upstate New York to Poughkeepsie and so on. The Amtrak trains go on a similar path as well. What's really interesting here is that the place where this train derailed, it seems so similar to the scenario that happened in Spain, where the high-speed, and this wasn't a high-speed train yet, it was a regular train. The high-speed train, they showed the video of it, it was actually hitting the curve at an incredible speed. There was no way that could stay on the tracks. Well, looking at the aerial photographs of what happened in the Bronx yesterday, it seems the same scenario has happened. The train is off on the curve. Now, it's a very tight curve at that spot, because I used to go walking along there, and it's actually quite a beautiful place. But what's interesting is the name of the place. The place is called Spouting, which means in Dutch, the spouting devil. And it's a very creepy kind of place. It's often associated with cults and things like that. In fact, the cult that's the son of Sam Berkowitz was connected to, a lot of bodies were found up there, and he claimed that's where a lot of their rituals were going on, was on either side of the South Bronx, north, very north far inward part of Manhattan divide, north of Harlem, in that spouting devil area, because he said that there was a lot of witchcraft and kind of things like that went on there. Now, I'm not saying it's anything to do with it, but it's just an interesting point that of all the places the train went off the tracks, at the tightest curve, which meant it was hitting that curve at massive speed. This is something that hasn't happened in many, many years, and it's something that shouldn't happen again. Just like the Spanish accident, modern trains are fitted with a thing called overspeed. When they go through a signal overspeed, the actual continuous train warning system shuts the locomotive or the rail car's power off, and the train cannot go at that speed. The only way it could break through is to have a massive sudden acceleration right before the curve. So you would have talked about that he hit the accelerator very, very soon before he reached the tight curve, deliberately wanting to derail it. Now, I'm not saying he did that. We just don't know the facts yet. 4 people are dead is all we know. But it did derail on the tight curve. Or the fail-safe signal on the continuous warning didn't shut the engine off. And that's the second time it's happened now. First in Spain on a curve, and now in the Bronx with Metro North. Now, I'm not saying there's anything deliberate about this or anything. I don't know. But what I am telling you is that you're going to see more and more stories of driver error and so on put on out there in order for them to bring in 100% train automation. Train automation is going to save railroad companies vast amounts of money on not having to hire conductors and drivers and so on. It's already been very successful in some metro systems, but it's not really been put onto a big level on any kind of major system. And that's what they're heading for. You're going to see a lot of vilification of train drivers. You're going to hear stories about drunken train drivers, and it will all be exploited on these accidents, if they are accidents. Because before you call me a conspiracy theorist, the Rockefeller family deliberately downgraded the fast urban traction systems in America, like the interurbans, to the point where deliberate accidents were caused. And the US federal government found the Rockefeller family $1 for killing a bunch of people on the Chicago line. This is all to sell motorways and highways, cars and oil. So don't tell me it's conspiracy theory, because if it's happened in the past, it can happen in the future, because the same psychopaths are running this world. And they have no decency, and everything is just business. And they wouldn't think twice of capitalizing on a train accident in order to sell more of their equipment and whatever, their technology. So that's an interesting one. The train went off the tracks in a place called Spouting Devil.